One was from Delhi, India, and another one was from Pakistan.
One which closed down, and then you thought of starting your own. What's the number, if I may know? Because I'm interested in knowing how many members were there.
The membership, so my club was given Club Event of the Month award as well. I got the job through.
Oh, smart move.
It was a bit.
There are no jobs. They are not getting any.
Letter, just hit apply. 10 jobs every day. In 10 days, 100 jobs, 100 rejections.
Oh my God, I'm rejected. I don't think this country is good for me.
So if you have those qualities, they will give you the job. You can blame it on the country. The reason you are hired. Ever international student got hired at that company, the local government.
Yeah.
80% of the people are thinking that there is a lot of competition, so they're not even going after it.
One of the departments in Victorian government. You can say 6 months after I graduated. So we are talking about
Exactly.
do business together. Like, what's the harm in doing business together? Hello everyone. Welcome to Dev Singh Show. Today I am here with yet another guest for the podcast. This guest has done amazing work in the community. He has been an international student, a multi-award winner, and someone who has lived a life and is today here to share the golden nuggets with you. Our today's guest is Sunny Singh. Cool, let's start the kind of, the segment I was talking about with you earlier. So how we do things over here, like with this particular segment, we kind of will go on a very much chit-chat mode where obviously you graduated recently, I graduated a little while back, and we can kind of ask each other questions. So it's very much kind of friendly conversation where people who are starting now or people who have started like couple of years back can kind of take the key pointers from our life journey and kind of see how obviously my life journey comes out every now and then on Instagram, but how our guest on such segments can kind of give you those golden nuggets and kind of make you fast forward on your journey towards your personal, professional or financial growth. So Sunny, where did you started? Like when did you came here? Give me like brief about that.
Yeah, so definitely. So I came to Australia at the start of 2020 in February first week. So just before COVID, like a month before that. And yeah, within the first few weeks of my time at the university, we got into the lockdown and it was very scary, very overwhelming. Like having barely made any friends at the time, it was actually very scary. And the reason why I came to Australia was I actually didn't want it to go overseas. My dad was the one who really wanted me to go overseas for multiple reasons. But I appeared for an entrance examination for an engineering college at my university, and that entrance exam, after there were 1.5 million students who participated in that exam, and only top 10,000 were able to go into some good universities, and I wasn't a part of those top 10,000.
Which exam was that?
JEE.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, you know that,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it was that. So I couldn't do it, and then I was a bit disappointed. I was like, what do I do now? I don't want to go to a random college or a random university because I knew I was capable of doing and studying, and I could see myself, so go somewhere. And that gave my dad another opportunity. He was like, Sunny, now you have to go, like overseas.
And you're the only child?
I'm the only male child. I've got one my younger sibling, she's my sister Khushi. So yeah, she's still in India. She's also planning to come overseas. But yeah, still in the process.
Okay.
But yeah, my dad, he was a very big motivator. He was like, Sunny, you could do it. My mom never wanted me to go, but then yeah, did all the process, started everything, got my visa way, like I think 4 or 5 months earlier to my actual start date in Australia. Then came here, I had my uncle living here who was another source of motivation. My mom, she was like, oh Sunny, you're an 18-year-old, what would you do there? And it's going to be scary, no one knows you. And then my uncle, who is my mom's brother, so he was like, no, I'll look after him, don't worry.
So you were 18 before you came or after you came?
I turned 18. I was 18 years and I think 4 months when I came here. Yeah, very young.
That's pretty young, man.
Yeah, very young. I feel like I'm still young though.
It takes a lot of time to kind of at such a young age to come and to kind of explore another country and to make a name for yourself. Like I know a lot of people who come here from bachelor's degree or for some certification course at a very young age, but then making your name stand out amongst that huge crowd is like a big thing. So where are you working these days?
I am working with the City of Greater Geelong, so local government down in Geelong, as a stormwater engineer.
Okay, and you got the job out of university, or like how did you got the job?
I got the job I applied online through the careers website. So they were hiring interns at the time. So it was again in my second year. So throughout my second year, I was also applying jobs in the background,
Okay.
trying to connect with people.
This is like second year you're applying for the job.
Yes.
So why? Like you have one more year to go by, right?
My degree was 4 years.
So you had 2 more years to go
Exactly.
by. And you're applying for from second year onwards. Like with what sort of thoughts? Because I don't know, like, I mean, I have zero idea why I will apply in second year when I know I have like 2 years to enjoy at the university.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I thought if I don't apply now, that means once I go in my third year, everyone will be applying.
But even
So
if you
I'll
apply,
have-
let's say even if you apply
Yeah.
and you get the job, fine.
Yeah.
How are you gonna how are you gonna go and do the job when you're limited by number of hours? And you still have like 2 years of education left.
That's exactly what I worked out. So I would say I wouldn't say maybe I had a bit of strategic thinking in my mind.
Okay.
So I played around a bit, and then I was able to get the job and have the hours and have the conditions the way I wanted.
Oh, smart move.
It was a bit. I wouldn't say.
I mean, I don't know how you negotiated, but if you can negotiate a job for like when you graduate, which is like 2 years since the day, or 2.5 years, I think, since the day you applied for that job, it's like commendable thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea was I wanted a job. So university. So my degree had a course map, which would map out an ideal civil engineering course, and they would tell you which units you will have to do at what time, what trimester, what part of the year, and things like that. So they recommended us doing an internship at the end of either year 3 or year 4 when you are about to graduate during summer. But then I saw there was this eligibility criteria. As long as you have done 3 trimesters, you are eligible to do an internship. So I was like, okay, I would be eligible by the end of my second year. So why not start early?
So I would say this is a government job, right? Local government
This is
job.
the local government. Yeah.
How much people make, and you don't have to tell the exact number, but how much usually people make on such jobs? Any
Depends
range?
on how up in the ladder
We are talking
you
about
are.
entry level roles because you got into entry level.
The
so-
entry level would be 60,000-70,000 a year.
Okay, and how much like I'm not sure, like director position is the best, not best the one, but after 4 or 5 years you can become a director.
In the government jobs, it's a bit tricky.
Okay.
You are not you don't become director like straight away. You have to move.
No, not
step
straight
by
away,
step.
like
Yeah,
step
yeah.
by step.
It takes you some time. Yeah.
Team leader, semi-department, and then department.
If you're becoming like a team leader, it goes up to like 90,000 to 100K. If you're becoming department, it can be 120, 125 to 130.
Okay.
But then if you're managing a whole unit, then it's something called a contract. So it's negotiated.
Yeah, executive
and
levels,
it's very confidential. I don't know, but it's obviously going to be up plus
Certainly,
more than
certainly.
120, 30.
Certainly. Okay, Sunny. So, what's your one advice for the international students who kind of keep on, I would say, just telling their parents or sometimes telling their friends that there are no jobs, they are not getting any response from the jobs that they are applying for, or sometimes they are just having hundreds of what we call it rejection emails in your mailboxes. What's your one advice, or what's your learning from your experience that you can kind of put on as advice?
So that's a very good question. So my learnings or my advice to those students would be start as early as you can, because obviously job hunting, job applying, it's going to be a learning process. With every single rejection, don't take it as a rejection, because when you apply for a job, apply from the scratch, like make a genuine good application, spend some time on it, because I've seen a lot of people, they would just have same resume, same cover letter, just hit apply, 10 jobs every day. In 10 days, 100 jobs, 100 rejections. And they'll be like, oh, there are no jobs. The reality, try to have a quality application and try to build yourself, because first application, you're never going to get a job. You get a rejection. So what I did was, I applied for about 15.
Okay.
And I think this was my 15th job when I got. Throughout the year, I applied 14, right? And then 15th was this one which I got. So it was every single application. I would send an email to the person who is recruiting. I would ask them, thank you for the opportunity. I got this email. I would really like some feedback on my application. If there is anything you would like, out of those 14, I don't think a lot of them gave me a reply. I think 3 or 4 of them responded.
But you know what? No, I don't think people even ask for feedback. Even
They
after
don't,
rejections.
exactly, and that was my whole idea. I was like, okay, I need feedback because that's the only way I would be able to improve, right? 3 or 4 of them, they got back to me, they gave me a feedback, which was helpful. So I was able to use that in my next application. So every rejection, I wouldn't think, okay, I got rejected, I'm very sad. No, I would take it in a way that, no, okay, Sunny, now you know how not to apply for next job. So it was
yeah, like I can
in a way.
understand that thing. I have a feeling like, you know, when you say that it's like, you know, every rejection you kind of keep it as a learning thing in the
Exactly.
process. But when you are actually applying for the job, I think that's not a lot of people are thinking. Most of the people are like, oh my god, I'm rejected for another role and I don't know whether I'm worth it for this role or not, or whether I should live in the country or not, because I've seen people who get like, you know, 10, 20, 30 rejections and they will just decide that, okay, fine, I don't think this country is good for me and I should just move out. I mean, your persistence is good, but I think it was more around the quality applications.
I think it's all on your perspective. So once I would get feedback, people would say, oh, you're not in your third year. You're not in your final year. We're only giving this to a final year. Or they would say something like, you don't have a lot of experience outside of your studies, right? Something like that. So I would take that on board and I would try to build my resume as well. So if I know this is the experience that I would need to get an internship, but I don't have it, what can I do to get that experience so I can write that up on my resume? Which is why volunteering was another key factor in my journey. So I would volunteer and I would try to get those skills so I can have that on my resume and I'll have something to talk about in the interview as well. So it was to me it worked really well because a lot of international students I've seen, they just keep studying, they keep working, right? But they don't do things outside of their university time, which actually does help them a lot if they're doing it, because they will have local experience in a way. They are able to say, like, you can claim you're a good communicator, you can claim that you're a good leader, but is there anything that you can use to back yourself up? So those were the things that I was using to back myself up. Like, I've led this study support group, led these many teams. So they would know that I'm actually keen. So employers in Australia, especially for internships, they don't want to like know if you got any technical skills or anything. They want to know if you're curious. They want to know if you want to be consistent with your growth and if you want to actually learn. So if you have those qualities, they will give you the job. And then I was in the background, I was also being very active on LinkedIn, like I did like a research, made an Excel spreadsheet with the companies who I would want to like get a job potentially in. I would reach out to the people who are already working in those companies. I would ask them to have a catch up with me if they are available sometime, or I would just interact with them in some way.
That needs a lot of effort. Like, I don't even think like even 0.5% of the people or 0.5% of international students available like in Australia right now, they're making that kind of effort, that, you know, going on LinkedIn and having multiple catch-ups while recording these things on a spreadsheet, that, you know, what's happening with this particular job, what's happening with this particular person.
And that's the effort which is required. Like, you can blame it on the country, you can blame it on yourself, you can blame it on your past education. But at the end of the day, I think everything is in your hand. If you want to, you will, right? So yeah, I would just reach out to people. Like, out of 10 of my messages, 2 would respond, like, because I barely had any connections at the time, like 50, 100 connections. And then I would have those catch-ups. I would ask them about like what it's like working in your company, do you have a graduate program, and all sorts of things. It was good to connect and get out there so that people would know that someone named Sunny is existing and he might be looking for a job potentially in the future. So that was the whole idea, just getting to know what industry really is like and how to get a job basically.
It's more of like, you know, be early in the industry, be early on the job.
I thought of myself as a blank canvas who had no idea. what to do. But all of those experiences and catch-ups, they were able to write something on that blank canvas, and I was able to learn as I kept going. And eventually I got that job. And my first day at my job, the HR, she comes up to me and she's like, Sunny, you were very good at the interview. Everything went so well. And the reason you are hired. She said that when she was skimming through the resumes of the applicants, she saw my name and then she thought, I think I know this person. And then she started thinking, and then she realized that I was connected to her on LinkedIn. I didn't even know that she was connected with me on my LinkedIn, but I was. And then she realized that I interacted with a few of her posts. I commented on one of her posts, and she was like, okay, I want to give this person a shot. At least offer him an interview and see what he has got, and then we'll decide.
Yeah.
And then she said, you nailed the interview, Sunny, and which is why you're here. Like, I was the first ever international student got hired at that company, the local government.
Yeah.
So they usually don't do international students.
So what I think learn from your experience is more around start engaging well in advance before even the job is advertised. I think that's the first one. Second one is just connect to random people on LinkedIn.
I call it 1% mindset. So I read.
Okay.
I think I came across this concept somewhere.
This is from a book, I know.
I think either from a book. I've also written an article on it.
Okay.
So I think I heard about it through a TED talk.
Okay.
It was like, I read this stat that 80% of the people in this world, they believe and do the exact same thing, while the top 20%, they believe in doing something extra.
Yeah.
And those top 20% end up in leadership roles.
That is
because everyone's going to think that there is very strict competition for those roles, but in reality, only 20% people are competing, and 80% of the people are thinking that there is a lot of competition, so they're not even going after it.
That is so true, yeah.
That is very true.
It's a lot about the mindset that people think something, and on the basis of that thinking, they make a decision which might not be true because the base thinking is not true.
Exactly. So it's all in your mind. So I would just do something extra every single day. That it all started through volunteering and then sending connection requests to people, chatting with them, meeting with them. Like, it was a part of me doing something extra, something I could do for myself. In my mind, I was applying for jobs, but when I was meeting those people, I never wanted a job. I just wanted to connect, make a genuine connection, build a relationship, and see how it goes. But yeah, eventually I got that job. So it was amazing. It was brilliant.
So, for people who don't know, Sunny won International Student of the Year by Study Melbourne last year. Yeah. And huge congratulations for that. Although we are recording this podcast like too late after that. It's like, I think the next person have already won.
Got the award.
But yeah, good on that, man. There are not
you.
many people, like, it's like one person in the entire year across the state who wins that award.
Yeah.
So that's again a huge thing.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, what's going on these days, like?
These days, I'm actually working at the moment.
I mean, other than job, like
other than job, working in a few other like not-for-profits. I'm working for Headspace, which is a mental health organization, trying to get their attention more towards multicultural people. I'm in the advisory committee, and then I'm also working in the Young Engineers Australia advisory committee, which is Engineers Australia. It's the peak engineering body, which gives the accreditation to all the engineers to practice in Australia. So I'm in the Young Engineers Australia advisory committee. So we are trying to make our engineers, especially who are coming from diverse countries, employable, because what we have found is that a lot of engineers, once they graduate, they are classified as unemployable or unskilled. So we are trying to tap onto that element and like rolling out a lot of things.
You're still doing a lot of things like alongside job.
Yeah, I love being busy. Like I'm a type of person, I can't sit still. So I need to be able to do something.
When you say you can't sit still, I'll tell you people who will be like, doing a full-time job, but because they can't sit still, they will just go out to clubs, casinos, do parties. So kind of, enjoying the weekends, enjoying the long weekends.
Yeah. To me, it's like, I love helping people as well. The feeling when someone is smiling and you know that you are the reason behind it. So it's it's that it gives me a personal sense of satisfaction to know that I'm doing something and I'm able to learn. So having that 1% mindset, it's still with me, and I want to keep learning as I go. And I feel like the time that I will be able to invest on myself, it's obviously going to give me big return in the future. Not that I want any returns.
No,
but
there's always like compounding returns on whatever you spend in the initial years of your work life.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people I speak on day-to-day basis who will be like, they want to enjoy the life between their 21 years and 30 years of age, and they would like to work once they are 30, 32 or whatever they have decided number in their minds.
Yeah.
But I have a very kind of different feeling around that thing, that if they can kind of make good use of their time between 21 and 30, they can actually kind of reap on the compounding efforts after 31. And I'm not saying don't enjoy during that time. You can go to festivals, you can go to events, you can travel across regionals, you can travel across international areas or countries outside Australia. But that doesn't mean spoiling your entire future just because you're enjoying that day.
Exactly. And people always think that, Sunny, how do you do this? And I'm sure people say that about you as well. Like, you are obviously doing a lot of things as well. But in reality, like for me personally, I do travel, I go to festivals, I enjoy, I meet with my friends, I do everything. But it's just the way you prioritize and the way you handle your time. Because I also do have other priorities as well, which is what I'm doing apart from my job and all those volunteering and activities. So it's just great. A lot of the time you don't realize, but once you come too far, you look back, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Did I actually do it?
Yeah.
And it's great. Like obviously scrolling through your LinkedIn profile, even if I search you up on Google, tens or hundreds of articles would come up under your
That took
name.
a lot of effort. I'll tell you.
And people don't know that, right? People see that this is article, oh my God, Devendra Singh and so many things coming up on Google, but how did you do that? So those are the things, but it's a lot of efforts. Like it's the effort going above and beyond, which actually matters, and it's great.
It takes a lot of time. I think, once you come here, you might be new to the country, but I have a feeling like you got like 2 years when you're doing masters or 3 or 4 years when you're doing a bachelor's.
Yeah.
But that time period is so crucial. Like you are doing studies, but that's fine. Like everyone is scoring good. Everyone is going after HDs or Ds or whatever. But unless and until you are doing something exceptional during that time, I think the life later on gonna be hard. So you have to study, good on you, but you also have to do a little bit of obviously paid jobs to get through the expenses.
Establish yourself as
volunteering, then meeting people, going and kind of basically going to the events and to the people where you're not supposed to go at the initial base. And that sometimes lead you to a lot of opportunities. Like, for example, I met a couple of people in Canberra most recently when I went there for one of the award ceremonies. So the people whom I met, they're today like one of my clients, like one of the biggest clients for the social media agency. So it's like, sometimes you meet people every now and then, and you'll be like, it's not something where you take benefit at the start. And I won't say don't even keep benefits in mind. Like, just make a very much raw, authentic connection with someone, and once you make the connection, if something kind of comes and crosses the path, like all good.
Exactly.
Like, do business together. Like, what's the harm in doing business together?
Exactly. It's about building a relation together and getting to know one another. And in the future, if something comes up, you know the person, and you
that helps a lot. Like, something comes up and you already know that person. They have already known you for, let's say, a couple of months.
Exactly.
And obviously people keep a track of each other.
It's so much easy because you have got that initial trust. Established there already, rather than starting from scratch. So it's brilliant. And at the moment, like, you're working for various different organizations, also entering into the property industry. So
a lot of secrets here, but a couple of startups are there. Not actively working with them, but kind of sitting with their founders and advising them around communities, around international education, around the my areas of expertise. So a couple of them, and it takes almost all the time. Then podcast takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
Social media agency is one thing that takes a little bit of time, and then I'm also making investments in real estate. So that takes some amount of time as well in terms of research and everything. But yeah, I think again keeping it as busy as possible, because the time I sit ideal or free or still, it's like I kind of start thinking about, oh, I am missing home. I'm missing home.
Can I ask you how
Yeah.
much sleep do you get every night?
It depends. So
Very political answer.
okay, last 48 hours, it says total sleep of like 8 hours. But it depends. Sometimes when I have good enough time, I'll sleep straight for like 10 hours. That sometimes happens once in 3 months. but I think I think you only need like 6-7 hours of sleep usually. 6-7 hours of good sleep.
Yeah.
Versus if you do like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you can certainly be good at work until a certain point, until you drop down.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of balancing things, which I'm not able to do until today. So I'm not an expert on kind of balancing, how to balance time and time across your sleep and work thing. But if you do work as much as possible,
Yeah.
and if you can kind of set a schedule in such a way that you will sleep for sure, as soon as you get tired, you get a good sleep, man.
Yeah.
It's like there's no comparison to that kind of sleep which you get once you are totally tired from
Yeah.
work.
So you don't you feel that it's impacting your productivity in any way? Like
Not really.
Not
No,
really?
not at all actually. Because I sleep when I'm at zero, like literal at zero, that now I can't perform at all. It happened day before yesterday. I was like, I am done.
Okay.
The team was editing one of the
Yeah.
videos, and I was like, I need to sleep, even if that's for like 4 or 5 hours. I'll sleep for now. So I slept, and that's like good sleep. I woke up late at night, started working again. I think it's more around again flexibility. A lot of people are doing like particularly 9 to 5 jobs from Monday to Friday, so you don't get to set your schedule. But even in that situation, you can easily set your schedule from Monday to Friday between your full-time job and your part-time job, or
Exactly.
and your business,
Yeah.
depending on what you are doing. I think a lot of people have already started doing business these days
Yeah.
alongside their full-time job, or have already started looking for a part-time job, because again, cost of living is pretty high.
Exactly.
So
It's getting very hard.
Yeah.
I hope you're not burning yourself out.
No, not at all. So I told you, it happens every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's the time when I also realize myself, like something within says that, okay, fine, this is the time to take off. So I might take an off for entire 2 days. Like I can obviously postpone all the meetings. The team can handle all the work.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have to be there. It's more of like, okay, fine, I am there, I will work. If I am tired, I'll just rest myself up.
Exactly.
And that might sometimes involve going back to India. So last like 3 months back, I was like, okay, fine, I'm coming to India. But yeah.
No, as long as it works for you,
No,
it
that's
works. Yeah, I would definitely say that I have been able to do a lot of things, and all of it goes to like the people who I have been able to
Yeah.
meet, and they have been able to guide me. Because in my family, like my dad, he runs a small business. My mom, she helps out with my dad with his business, and no one has ever gotten a degree from a university, or if someone has gotten a degree, they've never really used it, because everyone is like very business oriented. They want to end up in the family business. So it was a bit tricky for me. No one was there to guide me. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I have been able to make a name for myself. There is still a lot that I have to do. But yeah, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah,
So
it's always work in progress.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
getting there eventually. But yeah, it's been very interesting. So my dad, he wanted me to. So I came here. My uncle, he supported me. But then, as I said, within the first few weeks of my time, I like we got into lockdown. Very scary, having no idea what to do. I just kept studying like madly. I was kind of a person who was good with studies, but at the same time, I would like do a lot of fun stuff as well in my free time. Like if you will see me in my school, if in my class, if a new teacher would come and she would ask like, who here is like the most mischievous person in this class, everyone would point at me. But then if teacher would ask like, who is the one who would score really good, like I would be one of those as well. But then, so yeah, my first year in Australia, I just kept studying like madly because I couldn't do anything else.
Okay.
It was lockdown, obviously, and then we couldn't go anywhere. But then I got a part-time job, and it all started through that. And I started volunteering in a few organizations, and yeah.
What was your first part-time job?
It was at a 7-Eleven. So
Okay.
yeah, it was a very interesting story actually, how I got that job.
How you got that job? Now I'm interested in knowing.
Not a lot of people know that story though. That 7-Eleven was very close to my place where I got my accommodations. It was a shared accommodation, so I was living with two other adults, both of them males, and then third me. So the 7-Eleven was like about 7 to 8 minutes walking distance from my place, and because of COVID, you were not allowed to go very far.
Yeah.
You were restricted, and then I went to this 7-Eleven one random day, and then I decided, okay, I'll drop my resume. I'll ask them if they have any vacancy. And then I went there, had a chat, and I realized the person who runs that 7-Eleven store, he is also from India. He's from Punjab, and he speaks Punjabi.
Okay, that's
so
pretty good.
we had a really good conversation. He gave me a few tips around how I can look for a job, what to do, how to apply. Because being, again, very young, having no idea where I was, like it was very helpful. He guided me a lot. And then that was it. I never asked him for a job again. And then he offered me a coffee on that very first meetup at 7-Eleven, and that was one of my first encounters with Australian coffee. I wouldn't say it's like a proper cafe barista coffee, but I had a sip. I found it very bitter. But
that was like 7-Eleven coffee? Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I found it very bitter, but I had it because I didn't want to show because I wanted a job there. I was like, Sunny, no, you can't. But yeah, I finished the whole coffee. We had a really good conversation. I went home, and then every single week, at least once or twice, I would go to the store just to have a cup of coffee. Not mentioning about job or anything.
With this guy or
with the owner, yes.
Okay.
Just so I can meet him and like just say hi to him, just have a conversation, just so I can keep in touch with him, just in case if something comes up in the future.
Yeah.
He could ask me, and then he had my resume already, right?
Persistence, man.
I would just go there, make my coffee. I'll be say hi, how are you? And then a lot of the time he would ask me, Sunny, how are you doing? How's your assignments? How's your job? Did you find one yet? I'm like, no. And then on one random day, after 7-Eleven coffee used to be $1 at the time, right?
Okay.
So after spending $21, I was able to get a job there. So 21 coffees, and
then some sacrifice, some persistence, and going a little bit out of pocket. When you're not earning, $20 is like a good amount. Yeah. Exactly. When you're not earning. Once you start earning, people just throw money on almost all the things. But yeah.
The other thing that I really liked about it was that he every time I would meet him, he would offer like something. Like he would guide me in some way. We would have a genuine conversation, and then he would tell me about things. He would tell me about his time, and he came to Australia and all that. And I really enjoyed it. That was one of the other reasons why I would like keep going there. Why I kept.
No, that's pretty good. Like you're getting a kind of mentoring, you're getting kind of supportive hand, I should say, when someone is sharing their life experiences. That's something like why we have started this podcast, where people can actually kind of learn from what our guests have done and kind of ride on their shoulders. It's kind of boosts their growth as well at the same time. So 1 year down the line, you got the job at 7-Eleven. What after that? How life unfolded after that?
Okay, so once I got that job, I kept working there, and through that, I was able to connect a lot with the community as well. Obviously, make myself more comfortable being within the Australian community. So that another interesting story. We used to get a lot of regular customers from the neighborhood. And we formed a badminton group. So we would go every Wednesday night, and we would go play badminton in one of the badminton courses, which was nearby to our place. But that's one thing. I got into touch with local Sikh community.
Okay.
So during COVID, they were helping with people who had lost their jobs, who didn't have proper accommodation, who were in isolation and were not making enough money and couldn't buy food for themselves. So they were helping them by making food and delivering it to their doorsteps. So I got in touch with them, and I started volunteering with them. And through that as well, I got in touch with a lot of local like Sikh leaders, lot of other people. Again, blending within the Australian culture and also keeping my own culture. So that was a very interesting thing for me, because I was able to collaborate with like old people, with younger kids, It was a really good experience, like knowing where Australia stands and thinking of what Australia would be back in India, comparing both of those. Like, it was very interesting. But yeah, that really helped me boost my confidence because I was like very shy and having no idea what I was doing. So my second year of the university, so there is this story actually. There was this guy who won a International Student of the Year award at the time
by which
by
one?
CISA.
Okay, CISA, yeah. I
You know
know.
CISA, yeah. It's not very active at the moment.
It's
but
Council of International Students in Australia, yeah.
exactly.
This
yes.
is like year
2021. He won it before, I think in 2020, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he won the award, and then on one random day, I think it was January of 2021, I was just opened my LinkedIn because apparently a lot of people said that LinkedIn is a good tool, and I was like, okay, let's check it out. And I always had it on my phone, but never really would use it. But I would on random days, I would open it and see what's going on. So I checked it, and there was this article published by Deakin on LinkedIn. They made a blog saying that congratulations, X person. For winning this award.
Do you remember the name of the person?
I can't share the name, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But yeah, so he was an international student from South Asia. Also studying civil engineering.
Okay.
So a lot similar between us.
I think I know this person then.
But anyway, also studying civil engineering. I was like, okay, if that's really good. Let's see what he has done. And I checked out his profile. Very, very inspiring. I was like, wow, man, this is great. This is good stuff. He has been able to do a lot of things in the community, have an actual impact apart from studying. Like studying in itself as an international student, you perceive it to be a very big thing, right? But then on my first day at the university of my second year in 2021, it was 8th of March, I saw that person at my university. And I reached out to him, I tapped his shoulder, I was like, are you this? I was like, yeah. And then we started, like, we had a really good conversation, and then he was able to, guide me in a very different way. And then we met for a coffee catch-up as well. So that was really moving for me. I would say that was like a pivot. And then that happened, and then I started my own study support group at the university. So with the study support group, what we would do is we were a group of international students. We had a few domestics as well. We were like 6-7 people at the university. So we would reach out to new students, let them know what it's going to be like studying in the university, how they can make the best out of their time in the university, what they should be doing. Because what you expect before starting your university journey and what you actually experience, it's very different. That's what I felt, and there was nobody to tell me that when I started. And plus, my things were made worse by COVID because if there was someone available, they couldn't reach out to me because
I can understand that. I know that situation.
So I thought, okay, if this is going on, let's stop this and let's grab it by its horn. And me and those group of other people, we started a study support group, and it was heavily noticed by university. We were heavily commended. We were able to reach out to a lot of people, again guiding them for the first few weeks of their time in the university. And then Deakin, my university, they took that program officially on board, and now that it's an official program at the university. It's still going on, still people working on that.
That's pretty interesting, man.
I'm out of it, but people are still there doing all that good work. But so that happened, and it again really boosted my confidence. So again, I thought it was going to be scary, and it was scary. But it gave me an opportunity to actually get out there, be in an uncomfortable situation, speak to a group of people. Like, I would think, okay, I'm doing this for free, but when was the last time I was given an opportunity to talk to like a group of 10 people and give them a speech or
this
something?
This is 2020, 21?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like just when I was getting started.
Okay.
So I met that person, started a study support group. So study support group, I was already planning about that when I met him. But that happened, and then Deakin University, they gave me a student helping student leadership award, which is like a highest level leadership award at the university.
We'll come back to that again.
Exactly.
But how did before that? How did Deakin University Indian Club happen? Like, was it before that or after that?
It was after that. It happened in 2022.
So you started volunteering with the Sikh organization 2021 onwards. You've already kind of, I won't say popular, but still made a good name in the university. You've already met a couple of good people. You are already doing a part-time job, already volunteering with a couple of organizations. Outside the Sikh community, are you volunteering with other organizations other than your study group?
I started volunteering with another Punjabi, like it was a small group, but it was a Punjabi community group. Started volunteering with them, study support group, and then through that I got another opportunity at Deakin where I would Deakin. So Deakin at the time they had a lot of English students as well, like who would come to the university to study English. So because they were not very familiar with Aussie culture in general, so they would get a lot of international students, and they would connect and pair up with like a group of English students, and then you would talk to them, you would let them like as an international student what it's like, something very similar to what
there are like semi departments, sub departments within a university which run English Connect programs.
Exactly.
So basically there are a lot of international students who might not know any word of English when they're coming over here, and they sometimes they get kind of a program at a college where they learn English first and then they get enrolled into a university. But even like after that, they might not be confident enough to kind of speak in English or kind of have conversation with their teammates in English. So I think programs like this support such people. Obviously, coming from South Asian countries where English is taught as a second language, it sometimes becomes easier. But I've seen in a lot of South Asian countries where the nation has its own language. And English is not a common language or a second language, it becomes a little bit harder. So that particular English Connect program makes it easier for such universities.
Exactly, and it was indeed like a very good program because it connected me with a lot of people, and I got a really good understanding. Okay, this is another part of international education. It is not just you doing your English exam, you're coming here, paying your fees, studying. But there are a big chunk of people who actually are coming here to study English, and then trying to transition into a university, into a full-time course. So it was very interesting, connect with them. We would catch up every once a week, and then we would discuss on things. We would talk about like anything in general, just trying to be friends. And then if they want something, if they want to know what university is like, what degree they should be going on, just like talking in general, just anything. But then I got into Study Geelong, which is Study Geelong. So it is an organization funded by City of Greater Geelong, Study Melbourne, Victorian government, and we promote Geelong as a place to live, work and study. So we started a campaign called Brand Geelong, where we promoted Geelong on an international scale.
This was 2021?
2021 end, and then the Brand Geelong program started. That's when it started, but then we rolled it out eventually in 2022.
Okay.
So yeah, that was another thing. So again, like going into one thing, putting myself into an uncomfortable situation, which was very scary at the start. But then I had one thing in my mind that I want to do something, and that's the only way to do it. If I just kept studying and kept doing my job, kept paying my university fee, kept doing my assignments, I will end up in like a very corporate life, which I don't think I would really want in the future. So yeah, I would say that was the only way. And my dad was like a very big motivation in that. He was like, Sunny, if you put yourself into a tough point during your first few years, like 4 to 5 years now, rest of your life's going to be easy. But if you enjoy now, rest of your life is going to be hard.
Respect to such dads who like put you on like throttle that okay fine, go and conquer the world in the initial few years, because
he is a type of a person like he doesn't really ask me to do anything in particular, but he motivates me a lot. He believes in me, and I would say that's what I would really want in my dad, because everything that I'm doing, he trusts me, and he's like, Sunny, you would do it. I know you would do it, and he guides me on that. It is just amazing. It's brilliant.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did Deakin University Indian Club happen? That's the name, right?
Yes, Deakin University Indian Club. So, sorry. So Deakin University Indian Club. So again, first year at the university, when during COVID, and I had 2 friends at the time. One was from Delhi, India, and another one was from Pakistan.
Okay.
So both of them I met during my orientation at the university. The Pakistani friend, he went back to his home country because he was too scared because of COVID. Because at the time we hadn't much idea what COVID really was, right?
Yeah.
So his family, they wanted him to go back. So he went back. We lost touch. And then this another guy, he was living in Melbourne. I was living in Geelong, and we were not able to like connect properly. So it was just both of us in my social circle. And then again, volunteering gave me another really good circle. So it was that. But then I really missed having like a Indian community. You know, when I would talk to my friends back home, they were like, "Oh, we are having this fest at
the
my
festivals
college.
and events and
Festivals,
things
yeah.
like that,
This competition at my university. This like Diwali fair or something, Diwali Mela or something like that at my university college." And every time I'd be like, "Oh, I really wish it was here in my university," because I wanted to enjoy my university life as well. I was like, this is my only university life, and I'm not even sure if I will be coming back and studying again. So, Sunny, we need to do something about it. And then again, I would keep talking to other people. I'm like, "Oh, I really wish this was there." But I never really realized, if this is not there, Sunny, why don't you start it? But yeah, it occurred to me in 2022 when I got into touch with the student union at Deakin. So 2 years, I really missed having all that, having a community where you can meet.
Just to pause you over here, like, wasn't there any Indian club at Deakin University at that time?
There was one.
Okay.
I think it started back in 2016, 17.
Okay.
And then it was mainly based in Burwood.
Okay.
But then it closed down just before COVID because there were not a lot of
Because
people.
I mean, I know from experience that there are almost like every university has some sort of Indian club or society, either on their main campus or on a city campus. But this, like, today's date and age, I can't even imagine if people are not celebrating. I mean, smaller universities which are like very much regional, they might not have a Indian club, but they will certainly have a multicultural club or something like that, where all the festivals from across the world are celebrated, and the team also kind of comprises from people coming from all the nationalities.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming back to there was one which closed down, and then you thought of starting your own.
Yeah.
What's the number, if I may know? Because I'm interested in knowing what's the membership number, like how many members were there?
The membership, so when we started the club, within the first day, so it's another very interesting story. So bear with me. So we started the club, right? So it started in 2022, the whole year we kept on doing the paperwork, getting in touch with the student union, because we set the way we set up the club, it had a proper constitution. It is a incorporated association with the university, having its own proper bank account. It's like a business basically. So 2023 January, the club is up, its website's up, everything's there. And then we do a market day on the university. So market day is where the club will have a stall at the university and people will come talk to you, and you tell them who you are, you tell them what you will be doing in the future, and they decide whether or not to join you guys.
It's like orientation day at some universities?
It is a part of orientation.
Okay.
Yeah, so orientation runs for like a week or 15 days.
Yeah.
And one of those days is a market day where club they set up a market.
Okay.
So it's a very, very interesting market. So what happened was, I think we had about 10 members at the time. Because just speaking to our friends, asking them to sign up before that. But market day, the whole day we kept signing up. And then the next day we got the membership report. In the first day we got 120 members.
That's huge.
Just in one day. And they were all paid. They all paid. It was a paid membership.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's pretty huge. Like, free membership, people will sign up and they will forget about it.
Exactly.
But when they are paying for something, they will take it seriously. So it's such a huge number.
Yeah, trust me, my team who helped me start the club, it wasn't just me, but it was a team of 5 people, right? And they were all very passionate. They were like speaking to people, telling them about who we are. We had a few freebies as well. We were giving fruities and lays to people. But it was really good. It was fun. We were having conversations. I was able to connect with a lot of new international students. And then I told them about my experience and why this is very important to engage with a club like this. And then, it all started from there, and to this day. And then by the end of that whole year, we had about 400.
That's good number.
So, but our events, where we would do events, so we would get like more 500, 600 people attending.
No, I come from an experience because I was part of Monash Multicultural Indian Club, based out of Caulfield campus in Monash University. And I can kind of understand, when there's a free membership, people will just jump on it, versus when there's paid membership, no matter whether you offer samosa or whatever, but less people. But then on top of that, when you kind of, host events, you might not see a huge number turning up over there. Exactly. No matter whether they were paid or free, but even if, let's say, there are 200 paid members under your club, only 40, 50 might be turning up for any Diwali kind of event. Versus when there's Holi or such events, you even find people from like, other nationalities coming and celebrating with you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's, celebrating such
you
cultures.
exactly,
is like,
and that market day happened, I think end of February or I think 1st or 2nd of March, and we had a Holi event lined up on 8th of March. I remember the date, 8th of March it was 2023. And then we really, like, we barely had sold any tickets.
This is your second year or third year?
That was the start of my third year,
Okay.
end of my second year, start of my third year.
Yeah, okay.
So we barely had sold any ticket. It was the market day where we were promoting the membership, but also telling people that we are doing Holi. Now that you are here in Australia, let's celebrate Holi.
Yeah.
So it was really good. But very surprised, we had $300 budget for the Holi.
Okay.
So it was a very, very tight budget, right?
Okay, it depends because I've seen budgets lower than that as well.
So it was a $300 budget which we were able to pull off from the student union. So it was very hard because we were a new club. We didn't had a very big membership number. So they were not like, oh, should we really give you the money?
That's right, yeah.
So $300, we had to do the decoration. We had to have food at the event, snacks, drinks, colors. We calculated and the minimum we required was $1,500. But somehow we got like a few sponsors.
Yeah.
One of them sponsored the whole food and decoration. We made it ourselves. We bought the color and we were like, okay, let's see how it goes. And at least we'll have some content to share it on our social media.
That's correct.
So we can have more people in the future. We can tell them this is what we do. But the event started and somehow we got around 400 people on the day. It was a blast. It was amazing. We were like heavily commended. Every single faculty in the university, they knew. We had university professors join us for that on that.
That happens at such events usually.
And my student union, DUSAD, so they recently started giving awards to clubs.
Yeah.
So my club was given Club Event of the Month award as well. So it was amazing, phenomenal, really good.
Well, I think we'll cover this much today. But I really loved having a conversation with you, and this is, I think I should ask my audience, like if you would like to see Sunny in the not next episode, but on one of the next episodes down the line, then I would possibly ask you to comment. Just comment Sunny in the comments. And I'll surely bring him. That's my promise. I'll surely bring him next time as well. But just comment Sunny in the comments if you liked the conversation and if you like to learn more about his experience around how people manage finances once they graduate, or how people go across doing multiple things at once they graduate. We still haven't covered a lot of things across your study time, so we will cover them potentially in the next episode. But this is all for today. Thank you so much, Sunny, for taking out time for this podcast. Any last words?
Just thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. And I just hope whosoever listens to this podcast gets something out of it. And if I can impact one person, that's a win.
That's a great thought. Thank you so much for watching the podcast. This was Dev Singh Show, and I'll see you in the next one.